Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of Northport, A View from Here. My name is Gene Matthews and I'll be your host. With us today we have Jim Bursick, who is an assistant city manager and a public works director. Welcome
Thank you.
aboard today. And we also have Bill Ward, who's the manager of Parks and Recreation Division.
Yes.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
We're going to start off with you, Jim. When did you become Public Works Director and Assistant City Manager?
I started for the City of Northport as Support Services Director in January of this year. And in that capacity, I was over several of the internal divisions of the city, such as human resources, purchasing, fleet maintenance, and that sort of operation. In June of this year, we had a reorganization, and at that time I was promoted to Assistant City Manager, Public Works Director.
And you got initiated during the 4 hurricanes, and everything went smoothly, and you got to only work 8-hour days, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
We definitely had our hands full. We had a lot of storm debris generated from Hurricane Charlie, and also the other big thing that we had to take care of after that event was replacement and repair of street signs. We had several thousand street signs that were down during that hurricane.
Many, huh?
Yes.
Wow.
And so that was the big challenge. We've also accumulated probably about 75,000 cubic yards of storm waste. So
how do you get rid of 75,000 cubic yards of storm waste? I can barely get rid of my own waste in the house.
In the part of the city that was most affected by the hurricane, we contracted with a private debris collection company because it was just too much for our own staff to dispose of. They picked it up, they took it back to the public works yard where they chipped it up and then hauled it off to the final disposal site.
And that removal is subsidized by FEMA, isn't it?
That's correct. 75% of the cost is paid by the federal government, 12.5% by the state, and then 12.5% is picked up by the local jurisdiction.
So it's a little easier on us than one would first think.
Right, yeah. The total cost for the Public Works Department is going to be well over $1 million, so 12.5% is still a chunk of money.
Oh, yeah, yeah. It is in my pocketbook,
yes,
anyway.
Absolutely.
What are some of your responsibilities as an assistant city manager?
Well, I'm directly over the Public Works Department. That consists of 3 divisions, the Parks and Recreation Division, Solid Waste, and Road and Drainage. The Solid Waste Division, they collect all the household garbage within the city, recyclables, yard waste, the bulk items, hazardous waste, white goods, the whole gamut of solid waste activities, including commercial recycling, commercial pickup. Road and drainage, that primarily consists of the drainage facilities and system through the city, regrading swales, spraying waterways, mowing the retention ditches, that sort of thing. We take care of the road repairs, potholes, construction of sidewalks and repairs of sidewalks, and then also the roadway mowing and also maintenance of the stormwater control structures.
One of the things I noticed when we drive into Northport, when you come from outside of Northport into Northport, and I have to congratulate you and your crews on it, the city always looks nice and neat and well trimmed. And I think that's a big asset for for us as citizens. I like it, and I'm sure people coming in can see that you're in a well-run city.
Well, thank you. I think that just shows the pride that the employees take in the city and their job, and I think we have an excellent crew.
Yeah. Recently, I know in the newspapers and such, the city is going through some changes in ordinances on the solid waste. Can you explain some of those and what the features and benefits would be?
The primary changes that we've tried to put in place consist of the bulk waste collection. What we had found in the past is that we provided a bulk pickup during the first collection day of each month for each household. And we found that we were being inundated with large amounts of bulk waste. So in order to try to get a handle on that, we instituted a new bulk waste collection procedure. And the primary aspect of that is that the residents are required to call solid waste and schedule a pickup of the bulk waste. Then we also limit the quantities of the bulk waste for the free pickups. We've instituted a program where each resident would get 3 pickups free each year, and those pickups would consist of 3 items or 1 cubic yard, whichever is less. And again, that's a way to manage the waste stream and hopefully provide a more efficient means of collection. So those are the 2 primary aspects of the program, is that they're scheduled and also there's a limit on the quantity.
What types of items let's say I call up and say, hey, I want you to come over and pick it up, free of course.
A typical item that would be a free pickup would be like a large recliner that would usually constitute 1 cubic yard. You may have a dinette set, again, that's would be a free pickup.
What about a refrigerator?
Those have always been paid pickups. We charge $15 per the pickup, and that would hold true for all white goods. There are a number of things that aren't considered bulk waste per the ordinance, and that would be like the white goods, e-waste, which are computers, TVs, any construction demolition debris, any waste that's generated by a contractor. Those are all things that are paid pickups and always have been.
And can be more than 1 cubic yard?
Yes.
Okay, but they have to be called up. And is there a limit to those pickups during the course of the year if you're paying for it?
No, we would pick up unlimited amount of paid pickups. Okay,
good. Bill, I didn't want to leave you out here, so we got to jump in and give us a little background on yourself and your family, and when you came to Northport.
I've been with Northport since October of 2002, starting my 3rd year now. I still live in Bradenton. My wife teaches with the Sarasota County School Board. She's a kindergarten teacher. And my son attends Southeast High School up there in Bradenton. And he's in the International Baccalaureate program, so we're very proud of that distinction. Been in the profession for about 24 years. Graduated out of Florida State out of the Leisure Services curriculum. And I just came down from Manatee County, been there for 14 years. So
you got a good background for this corner of the world.
I hope to think so.
Yeah. Yes. And what are some of the major responsibilities of Parks and Recs in this community, especially in relation to how the county manages and operates within the city on city property to maintain parks and such?
Well, that is one of my major responsibilities, is the caretaker and custodian of that interlocal agreement that we do have with Sarasota County. They maintain the majority of the parks that are in the city of Northport. So it's just a matter of being in communication with them, communicating any needs and desires and issues that need to be addressed and those things. And then it's, again, trying to determine what they have in mind with regards to what they're planning on doing in terms of maintenance or any kind of capital improvements.
Now, the parks themselves are physically owned by the city or by the county?
They're owned by the city.
They're owned by the city. And can the city just put up a park and say, okay, county, come down and manage it, or?
Well, that's essentially the relationship the interlocal dictates. At this point in time, from a budgetary standpoint, the county would not take over any new park development unless there was some sense of compensation that came from the city with regard to maintenance. So right now, anything that has happened in the last couple of years that the city has brought online,
like the skating park,
the skate park and Narramore Sports Complex, the city has maintained that operation under their authority.
Okay, thank you. And we'll be back in a moment.
Have you seen Northport lately? Take a minute and take a look.
We really do enjoy nature, and we found it all here, right in our own backyard. Love fishing and boating on the Mayaca. You never know what you might see out there. We toured the whole state of Florida, and found that Northport had everything that we wanted.
There's a lot of natural beauty, and there's a lot of wildlife here. I love the open spaces, and I love the quiet.
If you're intrigued by what you just saw, pay us a visit, and you'll see a lot more.
Welcome back to part 2 of Northport, A View from Here. Jim, we were talking before about solid waste. This program, of course, now they have an idea of how to what they can have picked up at from solid waste by solid waste. What is the city doing to advertise or get the word out to John Q. public as to how, what, where, and when?
Well, we have run advertisements in the newspaper, and we've been fortunate to have a number of newspaper articles written about the new bulk waste program. We've also advertised on our website. We've distributed flyers in the recycling bins. We are in the process of distributing flyers with the utility bills for those residents on city utilities. And then we're also in the process of sending flyers directly to each household.
Through the post?
Correct.
Through the postal?
Right.
Because with the influx of people, I mean, it's so constant that that it's tough to keep everybody appraised of what's going on within the city. So I think that sort of public relations is real important for you all.
Yeah, it's very important with this type of program and size initiative that we get the word out. And the other benefit of having the direct mail is that it will reach the northern residents too as they come back for the winter months.
Mm-hmm. One of the things when you make changes, you always wonder what we're doing as compared to what our neighbors are doing, or some other cities of comparable size are doing. How do we stack up in that ballpark?
I think we compare favorably. Our rates are competitive. The services that we provide are very comparable. We are in the process of replacing some of the equipment in solid waste and then also adding additional manpower. And I think once we institute those changes, we're going to be very competitive with other areas.
Okay, good. Bill, back to you had mentioned a couple of new project, Narramore Park, and also the skate park. The skate park's not quite so new, but was somewhat tough getting off the ground and everything. How is that park working out? Is it successful? Is it getting a lot of play? Is it a good asset for the community? Is it creating any problems for the community?
Oh, yeah, I think it's a great asset. Our participation levels have increased dramatically in the last month or two. We are averaging over 100 participants a day. They're skating. We've brought a beginner skate area online, which has helped some of the less skilled skaters, and a building, a concession office type of restroom building is online now. It's there to help serve them, especially from the refreshment standpoint. We've brought some park furniture online there too as well, just to enhance the place, and now we're dealing with some drainage issues so that we can finish off the park and to do some landscaping. So the skate park is doing quite well, and it really serves its purpose in terms of giving the kids in the community an opportunity to come to the facility and enjoy themselves.
What's the normal hours of operations?
Right now during school year,
Yeah,
hours are 3 to 9 Monday through Friday, and we're open on weekends 11 to 9.
So you're 6 hours during the week?
That's correct.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And other than labor, is there much to maintain that park? It's made out of solid concrete, but
That's not too much with the park, the course itself right now, although we are beginning to experience some erosion issues that we have been addressing because some of it is placed on a hill.
yeah, sure.
So we're dealing with that, and the fences have to be kind of maintained on a regular basis simply because they do, especially in the beginner area, they're running into those just to break their momentum. But it really isn't. It's just a matter of mowing and keeping up with the debris. But that's just routine type of maintenance.
Okay, you find that in any park.
Indeed.
In any park. And has it accomplished the goal of keeping skateboarders out of parking lots and shopping plazas and things like that?
Yes, I think so, very much so. And I think that's, again, one of the reasons why They've become so popular in the fact that municipal agencies will build these now simply because they want them off the streets.
Sarasota just built a large one, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
Will that affect the attendance at ours? Or?
It really hasn't affected ours at all. Some of the issues they've been dealing with is just overcrowdedness. So
okay.
I know a lot of our skaters have gone up there and tried it and stuff, but it's difficult for them to get on sometimes. But like I said, our attendance figures have has been maintained since it's opened.
Oh, it's good. I mean, if you build it, you built it and they came.
And they sure have.
Okay, that's
yes.
great. Narrowmore Park. What? I know it's a ballpark, but what is it? A softball, hardball, little league? What kind of park is it? What kind
It's
of
it's a girls softball complex. We have 2 fields right there now, and in the future there may be a possibility of building another. We've had some drainage issues over there, and we have been addressing those, and I think we've turned the corner with regard to addressing the standing water issues that we've had. And just a matter of keeping up with that. And it's a very popular program, so we have to maintain it to a level that they expect.
Well, you know, girls' sports really has come a long way from soccer to do they do fast pitch there too?
Yes, that's exactly.
Fast pitch, because even now they can get scholarships to colleges and schools because of those sports. So I think that's a great plus for the program here in the city. How are the girls doing? They win any tournaments or?
They're doing quite well.
Stars?
I'm sure they are. I don't know them personally, but I'm sure they are. And as a matter of fact, they do want to get more involved in the tournaments. They are developing a traveling team as we speak, and they do want to begin to start hosting tournaments. So I think in the next couple of years that possibility would become real, and I think Northport and girls softball will be on the map in this area.
That's great.
Yes.
It's really growing in many aspects people don't see.
Indeed.
Also, you're into a couple of specialty parks coming up, such as the Park of Senses.
Garden of the Five Senses.
Garden of the Five Senses. You're looking at a Paws Park and also a BMX park. Maybe you can just give us a little rundown on where you are on these, and where the commission is on some of them right now. And
the Garden of the Five Senses, we are seeking funding to build a first phase of that, which would be just the garden, which would include a parking lot, a walkway, and a building that would be able to kind of house tour groups and educational groups that wanted to utilize the facility and be able to work out of. That'll be the first phase, and we're again seeking funding for that, and we're looking for just over $500,000 for that project, and that's moving along quite nicely. Paul Park, we just presented to commission to build and construct a Paul Park. One of our recommended sites is on Appomattox near the Jockey Club, and we're looking to survey that neighborhood and see whether or not check what their disposition is and see whether or not they're in favor of us building a facility of that kind there. So that's still in the works, but still we're investigating. The BMX track is something that we're again looking into, trying to find a riding area for the bicyclists. Highland Ridge Park has been earmarked as a potential site. There's also another site that has been kind of suggested to us out in the eastern part of the city where ATV riders and motocross folks are out there right now, and they're looking to kind of ride on city property, so there might be an opportunity we can construct something out there for them. So
we're moving along. Where is Highland Park?
Highland Ridge Park is just south of 41. It's near the Boys and Girls Club.
Okay, all right, that's the general area. The funding that you're looking for in the Park of the Five Senses, where do you hope to receive that money from?
That money will come out of the Parks and Recreation impact fees. That's geared toward an earmark for capital improvements.
Okay, I mean, it's kind of a unique project. Wouldn't there be any kind of state or federal funding that possibly could be used for this? Yes, there's potential for receiving grants. I will be applying for a couple as we speak on this upcoming year through FERDAP and the Department of Environmental Protection, and also looking for the Community Foundation of Venice, also looking into that resource with the possibility of being able to get some funds to help support that. Okay, thank you very much, and we'll be back in a moment.
There's a rumor that small-town America has all but disappeared.
Northport is the last Mohican. This is the place. This is going to be the last undeveloped region. The city government itself is so pro-growth, and it's just like everything is in the right place at the right time for Northport. They're very open-minded, they're very honest, and they're very fair.
Disappeared? You've just seen evidence to the contrary. We call it Northport.
Welcome back to the final segment of Northport, a view from here. Jim, on the Road and Drainage District, the Commission's been discussing a lot of projects and a lot of money. And what are some of the projects that they've been talking about doing or in the upcoming budget and such?
Some of the projects in this year's budget, which is fiscal year 2005, are the design for the expansion of Toledo Blade Boulevard. The current year budget has $1.4 million in it for that work. That also consists of a planning, development, and environmental study, which will allow us to pursue federal grants for the construction of that project once we begin. Another project is construction of a right-hand turn lane on Salford Boulevard onto US 41. It's kind of a minor project, but one that I know the community has been very interested in. And then another major project that will be a real benefit to the city is a street inventory. And the purpose of that project is really to identify all the streets within Northport and the condition that they're in, and then set priority for the repair or resurfacing of those projects. And some of the criteria that will be used is like the volume of street traffic and just obviously the condition of the street when the inventory is performed.
Well, overall, the streets are in better shape today than they were 10 years or 15 years ago. I remember literally you had to go out and mow them with a bush hog to get them down. And I'm sure there's still some out there, but there's no houses out there either. And it's got to be a big problem with the way houses are popping up like mushrooms to keep good roads going to all of them at all, at all times. The Toledo Blade project, that's to me that's a very big project and a very important project for the city, because as Sumter is an entrance to the city, so is Toledo Blade. Are we going to be doing something like Sumter Boulevard from the interstate down?
Yes, that's the intent, is to essentially four-lane it with the median and have the same concept as Sumter. We haven't gotten into the design, but the initial plans are to have something very similar to that with like a shared use path beside the roadway, and then the four-lane divided highway.
Shared usage as far as bicycles and pedestrians,
right.
Sidewalks? Or?
It would just be the shared use path, at least the preliminary concept.
Now, are you in the planning stages, or is it out for bid? Where are we at on it?
We are just executing or negotiating the contract so that we can take it to the City Commission for approval. That would allow the consultant to start the PD&E study, and then at that point we can go into the design of the roadway.
And what's the anticipated timeline once the commission says, fine, do it?
Well, the PD&E study will take about 12 to 18 months to complete. The design and engineering, probably 18 to 24 months after that. And then the construction would be contingent on the funding source. We've talked about having one large bond issue so that we can expand Toledo Blade Boulevard, Price, and Sumter, and it would be contingent on whether or not a referendum is approved for that sort of bond issue.
Well, that sounds like an awful long time to get that. It's a relatively short stretch of road.
Yeah, it surprises a lot of people that a road expansion takes that long. But
they said, when the bridge on I-75, when a truck, a gasoline truck, went off the road, went under the bridge, and burned a concrete and steel bridge down, that it was going to take months and months and months. They did it in 21 days. What do you think?
I wish we could expand it that fast, but I'm afraid it will take us a little longer.
Yeah. The other thing is that with the development along Toledo Blade, Bobcat Trail, Lakes of Plantation, and the like, aren't they also contributing to the cost of that road?
Yes, in the development agreements with the various developments that go along Toledo Blade Boulevard, there are requirements. I'm not familiar with all the specifics of those agreements, but there are requirements that they participate in the funding of the expansion.
And impact fees are paying for some of it, I would assume?
I'm not sure. We'll be paying for the design portion of Toledo Blade Boulevard.
Okay.
It hasn't been determined what funding source would be used for the construction.
And the right turn lane at Salford, but I use Salford Boulevard every day. I live 7 blocks up Salford Boulevard on a side street there. What does that actually entail?
Well, actually, it's a pretty simple project. It would consist of relocation of the utilities that's in that right-of-way, which is relatively minor, and then just the construction of the base and paving the right-hand turn lane. It's a simple project. We did just receive bids on it, and they were considerably over budget and over the engineer estimate. So we will be in the process of negotiating a cost with a couple contractors to see if we can reduce the expense.
So specifically from the bridge to 41, you'd be making a third lane there that you can queue up along that lane to make the right turn.
That's correct.
Okay, so that's real good. One other question on the Toledo Blade is the Toledo Blade between the waterway and US 41 is Charlotte County. Are they going to be doing anything along with our improving Toledo Blade?
It's my understanding that it's going to be a coordination project where they will be making improvements there along with our Toledo Blade improvement project. I believe that they have plans to improve that area because of the Murdoch development that's being planned on the south side of US 41.
Good, yeah, it would make sense to do that. We only have a couple minutes to go. Why don't we end up and let you tell us about any future road and drainage projects that are coming along that people can look for?
Well, the main initiative that we're doing with stormwater right now is having our interim city engineer prepare an overall plan of action to address stormwater issues in the city. We have an interim city engineer, Steve Toposky, that is really an expert in stormwater management. And when he came on board, Henry Jenkins, city manager, charged him with putting together a conceptual plan for the city to follow that would kind of lay a groundwork, if you would, for future improvements that we need throughout the city. And what Steve has been doing over the last several weeks is reviewing all the historical data, reports, studies to try to see what has been done, what should have been done, what hasn't been done, and laying that foundation so that we can...
Okay, with that final note, we'll see you again soon. Thank you.